Welcome to our very first virtual Kwanzaa. um, actually, KwanzaaMama does Kwanzaa every year, but usually it's earlier because the ancestors told me years ago, like 9 years ago, I've been doing them, and they told me to pre-teach. Don't get into the fray of Kwanzaa and to pre-teach. So we would have Kwanzaa community, like 100 people, and come together so that everybody will learn how to do. So, but we couldn't do it this year because of COVID. And I had these great plans. I had all these great plans, but that didn't work. And I I want to give thanks to Dr. Chinzera and my another sister, my friend Tamiko Patterson, because they called me and I said, well, COVID, and they said, and you can't be KwanzaaMama and not do Kwanzaa. You can't be KwanzaaMama and not do Kwanzaa. You could be Mama, but not KwanzaaMama. So I said, okay. So I pulled it together at the last minute, but hopefully it'll be enjoyable. And I see some people here; they all know about Kwanzaa. Pretty much everybody who's on there right now, I see knows about Kwanzaa, but that's all right. So I'm pulling up my notes because when us creative people, you know how we get. Oh, we be going off topic. So today is the first day of Kwanzaa, and the principle is which means unity. And I'm just praying that after tonight, we'll be inspired and unified, love and peace. So the first item on the agenda is my welcome remarks, which I just did. And that's what I have Baba Nepkara of Ankh in the U.S. Virgin Islands. They're all the way in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we're going to have libation. So if everyone could just please make sure you're muted and quiet, appreciate it.
Abarigani.
Umoja.
Abarigani.
Umoja.
Oja.
There we go.
Umoja.
Let's get into a contemplative mood. Let us exhale everything out of our lungs. And let us practice our great religion with the breath of life. So exhale deeply. Exhale, exhale. Take a deep breath. Pull up the lungs from the bottom of the lungs up to the top of the diaphragm. And we're going to let that breath out with the word and the ekau ang. Deep breath. Deep breath. As we have dealt with the essence of our life, the breath, we do what's customary. And what is our ancestral custom from the natural laws of our ancestors, natural laws of nature, the great Entera, or great Ah Atefa, or great Mut Ah, which is simply the great mother, father, those principles. And always knowing that water has the essence of life. We give thanks to the Naseru, which we call forces of nature, the laws, the principles of nature that comes and manifests to us in all various forms of feminine and masculine forces. We give thanks and praise to those great forces that sustain our being, that sustain our daily life. We give thanks to those great forces of life we call the Macheru. We give thanks and praise to our great ancestors, those who came before us, upon whose shoulders we stand. But we give praise and thanks especially to those ancestors who lived the principles of life, who left their teachings and their principles that we may gather this knowledge and wisdom of our ancestors and utilize it this day, and as they has done, to bring forth a high culture of our ancestry. It is our responsibility now to utilize these principles, these teachings of our great ancestors, of yours, and use them in this day and time that we may transform ourselves, to develop ourselves to become a high culture as we are supposed to be within Africa and without Africa. We give thanks and praise to our ancestors, our great elders and elderesses who are presently living. Those who continue to do the great work and are models and representation of the principles of our ancestors. We must give them praise and thanks while they're here. Give them the accolade while they're here before they return to the spirit world. We must communicate with them on a regular basis. Well, many of us are moving into that level of our being in terms of being elders, and we have amongst us many of our elders. And we have to keep that communication so that the elders have the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience to know when they go into the spirit world, to tell those who have not come into this physical manifestation, to give them our problems so that they may come with solutions. We give thanks and praise. We give thanks and praise to ourselves, our beautiful selves, and especially to those brothers and sisters who in the 60s see amongst themselves from what was happening amongst us as a people, to go within themselves and to do the research and to go into Africa and to grasp through Sankofa, going back and fetching it and bringing forth those principles of Kwanzaa, upon which we can use those principles today to help unify us, to help empower us, and to help guide us along the way. That will merge with that teaching again, because it's the same teaching, which is founded in the essence of our teachings of ancestors, which we call agri-culture, or what we call the cultivation of our environment and the cultivation of the inner environment. We give thanks and praise to all those, such as Malana Karenga and his beautiful Hamid Moot. What's her name? Okay. And so we give thanks and praise to all those brothers and sisters who are not mentioned, and we give thanks and praise to an ancestor that we knew personally, who was amongst those brothers and sisters, Brother Akin Shigun, who has been resurrected and ascended into the ancestral world. So we give thanks and praise to ourselves for doing our great work. To all the brothers and sisters, Baba Heru and many others, to Nfundishi, to MeriAbut, and to my brothers and sisters who I might not know by name, but to all of you and all of us present who continue to do this great work, we give thanks and praise to ourselves. We must give thanks and praise to ourselves, for we know it's a great sacrifice we all make in giving.
We give thanks, Elder Baba Theo. We give thanks to you as well, Sister Queen Yasmin. We give thanks to you, Sister Queen Sharon Oshun, and all the others that are present, that are walking as elders and eldresses, because it's a very powerful walk. Giving thanks.
And we give thanks and praise to those youths, those who are coming, those who are showing their hands and their heart and their minds that they are prepared to receive the blessings of the teachings and the wisdom that we have. Those who are having the zeal to learn, so that we know that our great work will continue. And we know they're there because we experience them. And it's our duty and responsibility to share as the fruits that we are, because we are now the living fruits of the African eternal tree of life. And those fruits of Kwanzaa of ourselves must be given unto our youth that they may now get at the basic necessity and all the things they need, the resources they need, the wisdom and guidance that they need, that they know that this culture is alive and well in these times and will continue as long as we are breathing as a people. We give thanks and praise to our youth who are now coming forth and learning the wisdom and ways of our ancestors.
Amen.
We give thanks and praise to the yet unborn. And we ask those ancestors who have ascended to carry forth our wisdom, our knowledge, and our experience, our heartaches and our trials that we're experiencing, that they may share it with the beautiful ones that are yet unborn. So that when they come into the spirit, from the spirit world into the manifest material world, which is a time that we celebrate around this time, some people call the solstice, we call it the festival of Kunum, and all those things is the raising of the jet of Asar, and we could get into some of the other deeper teachings. But these are the times when all these things were happening in our ancestral teachings of high culture. So we said to those who are yet unborn that we practice our culture, which is to communicate with the youths and the ones coming into the world when they are conceived and they are developing in the wombs of the mother, that we may ask them what they're coming to do, that we may help prepare that place so that they can be instructed properly to do the great work that they come to do. We give thanks and praise to those beautiful ones yet unborn. Thus, we've completed that African eternal circle of life. From the Creator, the Great Mother Father, to the yet unborn, ever completing that eternal circle of life. Just like we see that circle of life throughout what we call the cycles of the earth and the sun, the cycles of the moon, eldership, and then transformation into the spiritual world. And it's a custom of our ancestors, we give thanks to the heavens, we give thanks to earth, we give thanks to all the elements and the forces around. Being that we're doing this virtual, I'm only doing this so that it's done, but we normally do a lot more than this, but this is the virtual one. So we always give thanks and praise. And now as customary dictates, we call on those names, because to call on the names of our great ones and our ancestors and our loved ones who have gone before us is the remembrance that they're still with us in our minds, in our hearts, in our spirit and soul. So let's call upon those great ancestors and our family ancestors that we love so dearly.
Baba Charles Appleton Davis, Ashe.
Ashe. Mu'ah, Rebecca George. Let's call on those great ancestors who did such great works. Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey.
And Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey Jr. Ashe.
Granny Nanny, Queen Nanny of the Maroons.
There we go.
Ashe. Queen Mary.
Ashe.
Queen Breffel.
Ashe.
Queen Keziah.
Ashe. Queen Nzinga.
Ashe.
Ya Santewa.
Sekhmet Ayabingi.
Ashe.
Ijanya Christian.
Ashe.
Ross Ira.
Harriet Tubman.
Ashe. Rasigo.
Ashe.
Frederick.
Ashe.
Dr.
Alveli.
Bonkana.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Let's call in some more.
So many.
Anita R.
Ashe. Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan.
Say, Dr. John Henry Clark.
Ashe.
Dr. Dudley Thompson.
Queen Amina of Zarnia.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Charles Jew.
Nana Esperanza Davis.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Che Guevara.
Ashe.
Honorable Wilmus Blyden.
Ashe. Peter Harrison.
Ashe.
Lolita Lebron.
Ashe. Henrietta Benton Davis. Ashe.
Queen Mother Moore.
Hey,
Hello, grandmother.
Kojo of the Maroons,
Ah, Ashe. Dr. Francis Press Wilson.
Ashe.
Dr.
Laila Africa.
say,
All those for us to mention that we know are in our heart, soul, and the hearts and souls of all our people living in the universe, known to us as the Neterare or Orishas, and all the various names that we call. We give an answer to praise. Ashe.
you
To our
say,
Give thanks. And we return it to Sister Queen Mother Mutamut MeriAbut. KwanzaaMama.
sure, heads up. Folks who are watching on Facebook Live, welcome. Thank you for watching. And we hope that this will spark you to continue to celebrate Kwanzaa 365, the principles of the everyday, not just December 26th to January 1st. If everybody, I have a friend, a white friend, she said, if everybody lived like this, the world would be a beautiful place. Can I celebrate Kwanzaa with you? And I said, sure. You know, because, you know, the principles are for everybody. Even though it's an African American celebration, the principles are for everybody. If we all lived like that together in the world, it would be a wonderful world. So let's see if we could get Lift Every Voice and sing up. So while we're waiting for that, I want to just explain. My table looks in disarray, but it's not. Those people who know me know that I usually have bling, 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 bling. but my table is not in disarray. I use the teaching table that I use when I go to schools to teach children. So it looks a little different than the community altar that I set up. So what I usually set up. So so I'm going to use these to help everybody see what's what in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's a song by two brothers, but one brother gets the credit all the time. I think it's James is one. That's the one that gets the credit, and there's a John, I think. And they wrote the song, and it became known as the Negro National Anthem. And if you know the history of African Americans in this land, time, African Americans were called Negroes, colored, then Negroes, colored, no, I think it was colored, then Negro. I don't know which way. And then there was colored, Negro, and then Black, and then some progressive people decided to tie us to our ancestral motherland and call us African Americans. Now, that was a name we determined for ourselves. Now, explaining African Americans, it includes every person of African ancestry in the Americas, all of the Americas, not just the United States of North America. And so folks don't know geography, so they think America is one little country in North America, but it's not. That's a nickname. If you look at people's passports, it doesn't say you come from America. It says you come from the United States of North America. So it's just so we're clear. So we're African American by way of Canada. We're African American by way of Jamaica. We're African American by way of Barbados. We're African American by way of Georgia in the United States of North America. That's how we do it. Now we go to Central America, etc. So we're all unified African American. Then we talk about our birthplace. Okay, so that's something that we need to start remembering that it's not just for people in the United States, African American, all the Americans. All right, we ready?
This one.
Favorite version. That's my favorite version of my favorite rendition, I should say, not version, but my favorite rendition. So now I'm gonna go through. There was a brother who is very dear to me. I lost touch with him, and then I saw him walking down the street in Brooklyn one day, and we greeted each other and promised to keep in touch and that we were going to do something together. This brother has been doing Kwanzaa so long. If you look at the footage, when you see this clip of his, you see the dated of the clothes are dated. That's how long ago he did this clip. I wanted to use this because I wanted to make the point that some of us have been celebrating Kwanzaa. It's not new to us. And we've been celebrating Kwanzaa a long time. Unfortunately, he passed away before we could get to do what we planned to do together. But Kwanzaa Quest was his like trademark. And he had a DVD, he had CD-ROM, interactive activities for children. He had a vocal CD. He had a bunch of stuff, a whole line of things for Kwanzaa. But Kwanzaa wasn't popular when he did all of that.
That was in the 90s.
That's how old that video is. That's why I wanted to play it. And I wanted to take a moment of silence and he just rest in peace and have fun in the realm of the ancestors. You know, hang out with all those people. And so just wish him. And Dr. Chin, I'm going to do a teach-in right now. And could you call up the Black Handle one? That version, the one that I gave you that link, because it's more than one version. All right, so folks who don't, there's some people on here who might not know what Kwanzaa is and the symbols. So the children on the song were talking about the symbols of Kwanzaa. So the umkeka is the straw mat. So everybody go, good.
Good.
And keka.
Keka.
And this is how you spell it. I don't know if you can, I can't see myself. I'm not in speaker view, so I'm doing the best I can.
Actually,
right?
actually you are. So just, you may
Oh,
not.
I am on your side, but I can't see myself. Okay, umkeka. All right. And then on top of the umkeka goes the kinara, which is the candle holder, right? And we put it right here. And the kinara, right? When we have the kinara, this is how you spell Kinara, kinara, because in Kiswahili, the language that this holiday uses as its official language, I, A, E, O, U, those are the vowels, I, A, E, O, U. So I is E, sounds like E. A sounds A, E sounds F, O is O, and U is U. So we have the kinara, and then we have the mishu masaba, which is the 7 candles. And we have the mazao, which is the crops. And when we do a live, so we have lots of crops, all kinds of crops, and people get to take it home at the end. But we don't, of course, this is not live, so we do the best we can. And we have, the kikombe. I have to say it over and over again because people kind of chop that word up. Kikombe sha umoja. Kikombe sha umoja. That's the unity cup. And there was a time when people used to sip it and pass it around, but with all the stuff going on, that changed. So now you don't sip it and pass it around anymore. You sip from it and pass it around anymore. We pour libation. We use it to pour libation now. So we have to change a little bit because of the condition of the world. Okay. And let's see, the muhindi. That's a really important part. The muhindi represents the children in a home. There's 1 ear of corn for every child in the home. Okay, I say it again. Muhindi represents, that means ear of corn. Now there's another word in Kiswahili for corn, but that's vibunzi, which is a kernel of corn, right? One of those little kernels. But this muhindi is the ear of corn, and 1 ear of corn for each child in the home. So we have our muhindi, and I usually put it over here like that. I'll put this on top of him. And that's the mazao. Okay. Now, you know the part the children like the best. Well, let me do this one first before I do that one. The bendera, well, we roll the R, bendera yata ifa. Bendera yata ifa, the flag. So somebody, one of my friends decided that they were going to get me this flag.
Nice, nice.
They said, "Ooh, I thought of you." So I saw this, and they brought me this flag. So KwanzaaMama has a red, black, and green U.S. flag. So, that's the Bandera Yata Ifa. And last, like I said, the part that the children like the most is the Zawadi, or the gifts. And they also like So the zawadi, so these are the gifts over here. And of course we have some cultural statues. I usually have a lot more stuff out, but I don't have that much space in my room, my living room. So then we have the feast. That's the part I like the best.
Most people do.
Right? That's the karamu, the karamu. So everybody bring food. It's a lot of food, and we just share and eat, have a good time, and share the principles and go home. Now, there's one principle that I want to talk about. I want to go through all the principles, but I want to talk about this one principle when I get to it. Today is what, everybody? Umoja, right? Umoja means unity, right? Tomorrow is going to be Kuji, Cha, Lia, not Kuji Cha Galia, but Kuji Cha Gu. The U doesn't change. That U sound doesn't change. No matter where you see it, it's always U. So it's Kuji Cha Gu Lia, okay? All right. And then on the third day of Kwanzaa, we have Ujima. Ujima. And on the fourth day of Kwanzaa, oh shucks, I'm sorry, let me back up, back it up. KwanzaaMama is on speed dial, okay? Let me just back it up. Okay, so Umoja, okay?
Umoja.
The quote for Umoja. There is a battle to be fought. There are obstacles to overcome. There's a world struggle for human dignity to be won. Let us address ourselves seriously to the supreme task that lie ahead together. Kwame Nkrumah said that. Okay, so that's December 26th. Okay, so self-determination. And as you saw in the video earlier, oh no, you didn't see that yet. Sorry. You can look at my stuff. Okay. Of you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. Marcus Garvey. Kujichagulia, self-determination. We determine for ourselves what we call ourselves and what we do for ourselves, with ourselves. Okay. Ujima, everybody, collective work and responsibility. We put our hands together, we work together for the betterment of our community and our world, our country, our nation, and our world. Okay, we have a right, and above all, we have the duty to bring strength and support of our entire community to defend the lives and property of each individual community and family. Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson was a deep man.
Oh, yeah.
He was awesome. Ujama.
Ujama.
Cooperative economics. One of my favorites. This is my favorite. My favorite. Ujama. Ujama.
Ujama.
Okay. So we're supposed to communally build, cooperatively grow, and collectively prosper. Ujama. Cooperative economics. So when you see people talk about the circulation of money in a particular community, not being, Dr. Chintalu, whoever Linda is, could you click her off?
I'm doing it now.
You should know that now. What's my train of thought? What's my train of thought? Oh, the circulation of money in the community. If you circulate, if your money if you get paid and you go everywhere else except your local neighborhood to shop, that's why your neighborhood is poor, because you don't spend money in your community. You need to spend money. It's supposed to turn around 5 times in your community before it leaves.
7 times.
Okay. That's a concept. I wish Harry Roy was on. He could explain that deeper than me. I'm not a money person, but I know that. That I know. I know a couple of things, but that one I know. All right. So Nia, purpose. Nia, purpose. What's your purpose? Well, this quote is by Malcolm X. Policies change, programs change according to time, but objective never changes. You might change your method of achieving the objective, but the objective never changes. Our objective is complete freedom, complete justice, complete equality by any means necessary. Nia, purpose. That was his purpose. Kumba, creativity. My next favorite Kwanzaa principle, creativity. Okay. When I did Kwanzaa in my classroom every day when I was a teacher in the classroom, and the children love this one the most. And we use the language, the Nguzo Saba. So we'll say, they say, I can't figure this out. I'll say, did you use your Kuumba? And they would say, oh, and they would go away and they would come back with something wonderful. And I said, oh, look at that. They said, yes, I used my Kuumba, all proud. It was wonderful. Those children are beautiful. They're adults now. Anyway, potential powers of creativity are within us, and we have the duty to work assiduously to discover these powers. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And on the last day, which is January 1st, we have Imani, faith. Imani, faith. And a lot of people name their children Imani. A lot of people name their children Imani. So as we conclude this portion, I'm going to say, may the love and energy of the Almighty Creator and the ancestral forces be with you throughout the new year, 2021. So that's the presentation I had, for tonight regarding the principles and symbols of Kwanzaa. I hope that it was helpful. If you all see me crying after this next video, don't pay me any attention. I'll be all right. But it just touches my heart so deeply. African culture worldwide. If you can get that video, you should. Called Black Candle by Sante.
Young men of color, come up from the gloom of national neglect. You have already been faithful. Come out of the shadow of irrational prejudice. You owe no racial debt to history. The blood of our bodies and the prayers of our souls have bought for you a future without shame, bright beyond the telling of it.
Kwanzaa means access. It means access to yourself. It means access to your people.
Kwanzaa is like renewing your annual membership to community, to your family, to your culture, and most importantly, to yourself.
Kwanzaa is expressed throughout the world now by people of African heritage who want to have that cultural connectedness.
These are principles of what we're supposed to be doing 365, you know what I mean, and how we treat each other and how we look at the world. We did not petition or ask for permission to celebrate. We did it by kujichagulia, self-determination. We determined that this was good for us. We determined that we were going to celebrate.
People without knowledge of its past is like a tree without roots. People who don't know their history, that don't know where they came from, definitely can't figure out where they're going.
That is our task, to know our past and honor it, and to imagine our good future and to forge it.
Through Kwanzaa and through the 7 principles, you teach the next generation to elevate themselves.
It's your world. Your time to tell the world how you feel about this world and what you're going to do for yourself. It's really up to you to save your own self.
You are the best we have. You are all we have. You are what we have become. It is time to remember.
It is not merely a holiday. It is a statement about a people, where they were going, and where they continue to go.
Today we light the black candle.
But it's true.
The first candle that's lit is the black candle. The one for Umoja, the principle of Umoja. So usually I teach people to let the children light the candle. I don't usually light the candle. I let the children light the candle. And what they do is they recite the principle, light the candle, next, and the adults will then say what that principle means to them, the adults who volunteer. So if you want to use that format in your Kwanzaa event at home, because that's what Kwanzaa is supposed to be about. Kwanzaa is supposed to be about you gather. Kwanzaa is a gathering time. You're supposed to gather your family and friends together, and you guys talk about the beautiful things you did, the problems you need solved, and everybody works together and celebrate the success in school of the children, celebrate the elders who are still here, remember the elders who are gone, etc. That's what Kwanzaa is. No religion. Kwanzaa has no religious connections at all. If all those people you see out there who are trying to make it into a religious holiday, that's not what Kwanzaa was about. Okay? Kwanzaa is about unifying our people. And I tell you the story of, in the past, the advent of Kwanzaa saved a lot of families because they were mad at each other, because the young people started going out and finding other spiritual practices. And the elders in the family were angry at them. And the young people wouldn't come around because they were getting beat up on for being different than the rest of the family. And after, with Kwanzaa healed that. Kwanzaa was like, okay, we're just doing culture. We're just doing, okay, I can come over, we can hang out. And nobody's talking about religion. Nobody's talking about politics. Okay, it has no political affiliations. So those two things, religion and politics, divide our people worldwide. And so that's why Kwanzaa is so important and powerful, because none of that comes into play with Kwanzaa. Okay, all right. I know I got on my soapbox. I got on my KwanzaaMama soapbox. All right, I know. So I want to get Dr. Chinzera Kahina of Partner Ankh and the Caribbean Cultural Center in the United States Virgin Islands to have some remarks, because our time is close. And you know how I am about time. Those people who know me on there, you know how I am about time. So we have African Standard Time, not CP time. Dr. Chin, you want to say something?
Of course. I first and foremost, I just really am pleased to be in the company of such great ones. I'm very humbled to be able to have this time to honor Umoja. So when people say Habari Gani, it's like, what's the news? And the response is, for today, Umoja, because it's the first day of Kwanzaa. And so we can practice. So when I say let's try it. Habari Gani!
Umoja.
Moja.
Moja.
Okay. There we go. We gotta practice.
They're all muted.
Right. No. Right. Challenge.
Technology is wonderful. Go ahead.
Right. No, because the idea is that when we talk about, and I'm going to use some very choice terms, Kwanzaa here in the Caribbean takes on a 365-day vibe like it does in the rest of the world. So we use this time for reflection, and we use this time also for reporting. So whatever you have accomplished from last December 26th to current, and let's see beyond the limitations of the pandemic that has interfered with our regular flow. But what are the things that you were able to achieve? What were the things that you were able to do? How were you able to express? We definitely all did a lot of creativity. We may not have had the opportunity to visit Umoja in the way we're accustomed, but we were definitely exercising Umoja because we shifted in less than 30 days where everybody was 6 feet, physical distancing, wearing masks, washing their hands until sometimes the melanin was compromised. So we did some unity. We also engaged in Kujichagulia, even in terms of us exercising our self-determination on taking a very responsible choice on how we handle this new way of living, this new way of work, of engagement, this new way of how we wake up and work, play, etc. We get the opportunity to really revisit Ujima as well as Ujamaa when we're saying collective work and responsibility and cooperative economics, because those are areas that are very personal, very touching, very focused inside of our soul self. So a lot of times we get an opportunity to speak about these ideas of collective work and responsibility and cooperative economics. They're very close knit, because cooperative economics will not function if you do not have collective work and responsibility at the core. It will not work if there isn't any unity, and there'll be no direction if there's no kujichagulia in terms of self-determination. And Nia, of course, gives us that opportunity to really engage in the purpose so that we're clear on destiny, we're clear on integrity, we're clear on, how did Marcus Garvey say? One God, one aim, one destiny. How does our brother and sisters in South Africa add to that? Israeletu in Africa. Amandla, we speak of power. And so we speak of power, we speak of strength.
Way too.
And we also speak of moving beyond struggle. So we don't stay in a space of struggle for the sake of struggle. We speak of prosperity. We expand that prosperity in abundance in all our different ways. That's part of what we do inside of Kwanzaa. When we embrace Kuumba creativity, it gives us an opportunity to utilize all of our creative skills, talents, and expertise, and our intelligences, more specifically, our knowledge, because we know. We don't just have to believe, we actually know. So we are able to exercise Kuumba creativity that is balanced through all these other principles that are part of Kwanzaa as well. And of course, Imani. And for some persons, because English is really not all of our first language in terms of our spiritual soul self, sometimes persons misunderstand faith. When we're saying Imani as African, ancestral, original, native, indigenous people, we're speaking of it from a place that is so ancestral, so connected to omnipotence, so connected and linked to our creator, that faith is, those 5 letters just isn't enough, because we're actually living it, breathing it, praying it, meditating it, affirming it, and doing it in our every squinet of our life. Squinet is smaller than a millisecond, and we're doing this all the time. So when we speak of Kwanzaa, we're highlighting those principles, not just December 26th to January 1st. This is beyond a talent show. This is not just everybody gather and then on January 2nd, we go back to business as usual. Our whole vibration is to shift and to ascend and restore our ancestral sacred traditions in practice, in body, mind, soul, spirit, and consciousness. And then we do it how? Using truth, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony. 4 letters, Ma'at. Very ancestral, powerful principle, guided within the divine feminine. And I'm really giving thanks to being able to be with our family, even in this virtual setting. You know, it is as if we're able to join in one another's homes. And for that, I am truly, truly grateful. And with that, when you get ready to close out from a Kwanzaa celebration, we say Harambe 7 times, and we say Harambe and the principle. So it'll be a Harambe, Umoja, Harambe, and we're going to say it 7 times. You ready?
Unmute so we can say together.
Yes.
And we need to tell them Harambe means let's pull together.
Yes, I think you just told them. Thank you. Got it. Harambe, Umoja. Harambe,
Umoja.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Umoja. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Thanks.
Oh no, leave them. A closing remark from KwanzaaMama, and then we're going to do a chant, and that will be our evening. So many of us give lip service to the concept of unity in the community. I charge all of you to recognize that there has been a struggle against social injustice for hundreds of years, and we are still in the struggle. Would you be the peace that you want to see in the African American community? Would you be a sustainable contribution today, contributor, be of service? Would you? In what ways would you move to repair and renew and restore? How can we prepare our next generation of leaders? That's the charge I have for everybody who can hear my voice. Okay, Michael Jackson made the song Man in the Mirror. When I sing it, I say girl in the mirror or woman in the mirror. I make it, I change it. Depending on how young I feel that day. I might be a girl that day, but I'm not next day. So, it begins with us as individuals. It begins with us as individuals. And we have to determine how much we're willing to contribute. And how much you're willing to contribute will determine how much you have to say. Because if you sit on your tail and do nothing about a situation, then don't complain. We don't want to hear your mouth. We don't want you on the soapbox. We don't want that. We want people who actually put their hands in, put their minds in, and get something done and make changes. Okay? My elders always told us, he or she who suggests executes, and the elders and ancestors taught us that we are to leave wherever we go better than we met it. I'm going to say that again. Our ancestors and elders taught us we are to leave wherever we go better than we met it. That's the charge from KwanzaaMama and the ancestors, because I shouldn't come up with that by myself. All right, so I want to talk about Habari.
I just had a question. I just wanted to ask, since you gave us that charge, if everyone that is willing to please put either their website or a link so that we can keep this Umoja, Kujichagulia, all these principles going, so that next year when we report, we're able to share again and hopefully soon be
together. Yeah, do they know how to use their chat box?
I hope everyone is able to go to the chat.
So we share that with them. Use your chat box and share your
contact information.
Or share your information. Yes. If not, you can inbox either Dr. Chinzera or I, if you're not comfortable doing that on this.
Okay, of course. Thank you, Mo.
Sure. All right, so Habari Gani. Everybody, Habari Gani. Habari Gani. You roll the R, it sounds like Habari Gani. Habari Gani. But if you can't say R, just do Habari Gani. Okay? And that's like, what's happening? What's the news? What's going on? Okay? So Habari Gani. And then for this chant, the answer is going to be, and usually when they say Habari Gani, I have a friend, you call her house, you're going to hear Habari Gani. And she expects you to say the principle of that day. So and that's what it is. Habari Gani.
Umoja.
Happening. Everybody say it again. Habari Gani.
Habari Gani.
What's happening? Okay. And then the answer for this chant is Kwanzaa. Okay? So let me give it to you. Let me do the whole thing. Habari Gani. Want to say it one time? Kwanzaa. Habari Gani. Kwanzaa. I'm going to say in English, what's going on, what's going on? And you're going to say, Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa. Because I said what's going on twice, right? So I'm going to say, habari gani. Once, you're going to say what? Kwanzaa. I'm going to say, habari gani. And you're going to say what?
Kwanzaa.
I'm going to say, what's going on, what's going on? You're going to say what?
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa. Okay? And it's a rhythm. I wish I had drums. We don't have drums here. We usually
Yes.
do
I have my drum.
Listen, there's a
Let's clap. Let's clap.
Mr. Yamin has drums.
Okay, but how is that gonna? I don't know if that's gonna work. Or if it's gonna come through right. So let's just.
right.
Okay, let's go.
I can't wait with
Let's
that.
practice. Let's practice. What's going on? What's going on? Kwanzaa. What's going on? What's going on? Kwanzaa. Habari gani? Kwanzaa. Habari gani? Kwanzaa. What's going on? What's going on? Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa. What's going on? What's going on? Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa. Habari gani? Kwanzaa. Habari gani? Kwanzaa. I got it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it again, but this time I'm not gonna. Well, yes, I will. Like saying what I'm not gonna do. I know I'm gonna do. Okay, here we go again. What's going on? What's going on?
Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa.
Yeah. What's going on? What's going on?
Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa.
Habari gani?
Kwanzaa.
Habari gani?
Kwanzaa.
Awesome. I want you all to have a blessed and wonderful rest of Kwanzaa. And we kicked it off. So every night, light your candle for the day. Do me a favor. Do not leave your candles burning.
There you go.
Snuff them out. And the next night, start with the black one. Do the next one, until you get up to where you are for that day. And you all do your sermon, you talk and do your whatever you're doing. When you're done, before you go to bed, snuff them all out.
Right.
Okay? Everybody got that?
Yes.
Love you all. Hugs. Thank you for my Jamaican posse. Thank you for the people from St. Croix, USBS, St. Thomas, and St. John, United States Virgin Islands. Thank you for the people from Brooklyn. Thank you to the people from Connecticut. Thank you to the people. I'm trying to see who's on here. Wait. How far away, this thing is all the way over there. And my projector didn't work, so I couldn't project this so I could see everybody. So, okay, you're going to see my neck down because I have to do this. I'm trying to see who's here.
Over here, up there.
Oh, Pocono! Mount Pocono! Woo! and whoop, whoop. And Jamaica, right? I did Jamaica.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and the rest of the Poconos. Thank you all.
Gotta hear the drums.
Yes, Sister Queen.
Woo, yeah, the drums. Yeah. Oh, wait. Let's hear the drums. Let's hear the drums.
Okay.
Hey, KwanzaaMama.
And it's all good. So now, that was the closing.
She can play. She can play. All righty now. Thank you so much to for that. Thank you so that.